To find the slope of problem number 1, you are looking for y equals mx for plus b. You want m. You want the coefficient of x squared. So in problem number 1, the number multiplied to x is negative 2/7. So the slope of number 1 is negative 2/7. Number 2 multiplied to x is 8/3. Number 3 is a little more difficult because y is not by itself. So let's change the form of this equation by subtracting 2x from both sides of the equation. That leaves us with 7y on the left and 6 subtract 2x on the right. We will divide each side by 7. Now remember, when you divide the entire right-hand side by 7, you have to use kind of a distributive property for division. You have to divide each of these by 7. So you will have 6/7 minus 2/7 x. That means that the coefficient of x, or the slope for number 3, is negative 2/7. Number 4 is a little bit easier. To get y alone, all you need to do is divide by 7, and just like in problem 3, you'll use that distributive property for divide, and you'll end up with 2/7 x plus 6/7. That means the slope for problem number 4 is 2/7. Problem number 5, we have to get y alone. It's a little more work again. We have to subtract 8x from both sides. Then we will divide both sides by 3 to get rid of the coefficient of y. That would leave you, again, with that distributive property for division. You end up with y equals 2 subtract 8/3 x. So the slope for problem 5 is negative 8/3. Looking at problem number 6, again, to get y alone, we will subtract 8x from both sides. That leaves us with negative 3y equals 6 subtract 8x. Dividing both sides by negative 3 will leave you with negative 2 subtract or plus 8/3 x on the right. If we have a negative divided by a negative, that becomes a positive. So the slope of number 6 is 8/3. If I circle some of the parallel lines here, I end up with negative 2/7 in problem number 1 and problem number 3, so those are parallel to each other. I end up with positive 8/3 in number 2 and positive 8/3 in number 6, so those two are parallel to each other. The next thing I'd like you to try is to find the slope of the 4 sides in problems 60, 61, and 62 to determine whether or not they're parallelograms, and then find the slopes of the 4 sides in 63, 64, and 65 to decide whether or not they are rectangles. Watch video number 5 to see if you've done those correctly.